All right, I'm going to talk to you about my people today and why I am the way I am, what has led me to be the way I am. I want to talk about my people, these people. Because if I say the word black, it becomes like you attacking some kind of religion or something. And people just go off because they think that I'm excluding myself from my people when I talk about black. So I won't use that term in this video. I'll use my people. Okay. And yes, I'm going to go down that hole to where I begin to point the finger at my people. That means I'm pointing the finger at myself as well. I'm no different. I come from the same tree y'all come from, or they come from. We got to get our pronouns right. I don't know if to say that. I should say they, because I believe that when you realize the truth and you're able to live with it, then you can you can exclude yourself a little bit. And anybody that is local that watches this video, let me tell you right now, if you can't get it in your thick skull that I have a right to talk about my people, and it doesn't mean that there's anything bad about you. If the shoe don't fit, don't wear it. I'm not wearing it. But because I'm honest about people that I grow up with, the people that I come from, that I share seed with, that should not be an offense. You can't say that, oh, it's wrong for white people to talk about black people. It's wrong for black people to talk about black people too. I'm tired of hearing that. I can talk about my people. I can talk about my family. Okay? So if you think that I don't have a right to do that, get out of here right now. Get out. Exit this video because I'm going to say what I got to say. Get out of here. Don't come to my channel trying to hate on me. I talk very dirty about atheism. I talk very dirty about my people. I talk very dirty about Democrats. I talk very dirty about everything I talk about. I talk very dirty. You want me to talk more peaceful about these subjects? Go to my other channels. This channel, I'm gonna let it all out. If you don't like me talking about it, why come here? If you think that these people right here are so perfect that can't nobody criticize, get out of here. Go somewhere else. And I'll say it to your face next time I see you. You shouldn't have watched my videos if you didn't think I had a right to say what I say. I'm saying that to you online and offline. All the way to my daggone family and my church family. You don't think I got a right to say what I need to say? Opt out right now because I'm going to say it. Understand? You might, discretion advised right here. You might want to leave because I'm going to piss you off. Plain and simple. You don't want to be pissed off. Leave the channel right now. We can be friends. Fine. Leave right now and we can be friends. Because you never heard me. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know what I'm saying? I see you people, some of you people, I see you every day. Okay? That doesn't change the way I feel. That doesn't change what I know. Let me say that again. It doesn't change what I know. That you don't. I was trying to do this outside on the porch. But the bumblebees felt that, I don't know, they wanted to mate with me or something. I don't know what they was trying to do, but they just all started coming after me. What am I, a honey tree? I just came on back in the house. There's some plants below me. Okay. And they go and eat the plants real fast. Well, they don't I don't know how. They land on them plants, whatever bumblebees, fill me in on the science. They land on certain plants, and then they try to hurry up and get shade. Well, all the shade is up on my porch, especially my side. So they try to hang out there. And they see me and they flying around acting crazy, and they want to land on me, and they want me to be still so they can land on me and sting me. No, I'll just go inside this hot house and do this video. I'm gonna be sweating by the time I get done with this video. Anyway, um, all my life, I learned this when I was a kid. When I was a kid, I wanted to know why we're sitting here and complaining. Because my school teachers, yes, these white school teachers, aren't teaching this in school. That we should just sit here. I couldn't understand why we're sitting here and complaining instead of doing something about our failures and doing something about um, all the things that we don't have. Why are we sitting here complaining and putting other races into it and putting the blame on somebody else instead of going out there and trying to get that thing for ourselves? This was way back in the 80s when I could honestly tell you that people honestly did back then really, and I tell some of my white friends this today, and they act dumb, but yeah, even back in the 80s, people discriminated at jobs. They didn't want a certain number of black people working. So black people worked there. They worked for all the big corporations back then. Okay. But if you walked in there and you was like applicant number 3, 4, 5, 6, somewhere in there or whatever, I don't care what your skills were. You wasn't going to get hired unless they was going to fire somebody and put you in his place because of your skills. But you just missed out because they're only going to and I know this, they're only going to have so many black people working for them. And I knew that. I knew that as a kid. Okay? Knew that as a kid. The only time, and this is why I imagine some people like to stay in ghettos, because the only time that they would allow you to work, and it was like majority black or half black, was in these ghettos. When I went there, when I used to go, only time I've ever worked with a full script of black people was, or should I say my people? I'm sorry. The only time I ever worked with a full script of my people is when I was in the urban community. Okay, where the community is predominantly black. Okay, and did my people keep their hands off this minority white or a minority Asian if within the neighborhood? Not really. They waited till an opportune time. Okay, they used their head a little bit when they went after them than when they go after their own people. Okay. But you say, oh, I see white people and black people living together, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. Show me a place in my state that where the council, where there's a Democrat in office and black people aren't attacking white people. Any city or town here in Pennsylvania, I'm just like I can only talk about my people, I can only talk about my state. I haven't really gone a lot of places I just came back from New York last year. Um, but I went to Allentown, Pennsylvania, and that's a more conservative type of town. Whether their mayor is Democrat or not, the people are very conservative. Whether their governors are Democratic or not, the people are conservative. Okay, the white people, that is, they're very conservative, and I appreciate that. Why? Why, Mr. Cruz? Why do you bank so much on this conservative garbage? Well, because I like to conserve and bear the right to conserve the United States as to what it is, not to what we can make it, to what it already is. We only need white people to do one thing. I love white people. There's only one thing I don't like about white people, and that's when they use us as props, or they keep acting like we're not human like they are. But the white people that I grew up in, coming up in church camp with, coming up in church with, you know what I mean? The white people that I used to play with when I was a kid, and I'd go hang out at their house, and they come hang out at my house, and they lived across the street in the wealthy section, and I lived over here, which wasn't a ghetto at the time. It is now, wasn't then. But we were still segregated, and they didn't say, "Oh, don't go." Their parents would say, "Don't go over there. You need to stop hanging out with D-Roy." No, 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 no. When they came over, when they let their kids come over to my side of the street, my side of the neighborhood, they'd ask for my phone number. They call my mama, and they'd have a talk with my mama about, uh, the safety of their kid. Like, let me know that no matter what the kid says, they want them back home at a certain time. And you know what I'm saying? If he got medical conditions, allergies, whatever, you can't feed him this or that, and all like that. And my mom had the trust of many, 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 many non-black people. This goes beyond anything that I would do in the summer times, or just 2 months of the summer when my mom and I would go stay with my grandmother. It was a totally different world. Like my family, my cousins that I grew up with, my first cousins, we all lived in the same, and when my mother died, we all lived in grandmama's house. But, even before then, I used to love to go down here, come here to Pittsburgh, to the Homewood section of Pittsburgh. And we lived on Ray Street with my grandmother for 2 months, me and my mom. And my Aunt Rose and everybody was there. We grew up, and, this was my time with black people. Because everybody in the house was black. Wasn't a white soul in there. And this was my moment with black people to where we appreciated, black folks getting together, and that's fine. But one of my cousins to me one day had a problem with me, falling for these white girls out at church camp. And you're creating a problem now. You're starting some BS now. One of my cousins had a problem with me trying to go after this girl. Okay, that was from Erie, Pennsylvania. We was writing letters to each other. We were meeting each other at camp, and she invited me and my friend down to her house in Erie. And my cousin, one of my oldest ones, she had a problem with that. She had a problem with me, in my connection to white friends, and especially going after these white girls. Oh boy! Now some of y'all will sit there and act like, oh well, black folks should, you got to understand, black women don't like it when black men, step away from sisters when it comes to dating. Okay, but if somebody white say that same thing, y'all go crazy. Y'all go crazy. What I mean? And nobody was there to go crazy because I went down to see her in Erie. And her dad pulled me out, aside. Me and him walked out to the baseball field. He let me know, his daughter was going to do this and do that and do this and do that and do that and do this. Me and her wasn't going to see each other much anymore. Really? You know. And she ran up to me. I don't know if she thought her dad was going to shoot me and leave me out in the ball field or what, but she come running up to me. He told her to go back in the house with you again, man. I'm just getting to know D-Roy. But he talked to me about everything. He wanted to see what kind of person I was. He talked to me about everything. And but he just had one objection, and I could see it in his bring it into a conversation that ain't got nothing to do with it. He didn't think I was a good fit for his daughter. And he came out and said that without actually coming out and saying it. And I get that. Well, I got that a lot. Okay. So my childhood, I had to ask the question. Then even in the church, as a child, as a teenager, I've had people in my church come up to me, and say, "Hey, what's up with you and Keith?" Keith calls me on the phone about 3 times a week. We're back together. We're back to hanging together anymore. The only problem is he lives way out near Ohio, and I'm way out here. So, and he's really busy. He's a really busy man, but I haven't even told Keith just how many people in my church actually didn't like him. They'd smile in his face and then yell at me about it. You know what I'm saying? Keith came to that church. He would come to that church. He wanted to be there. I was one of the reasons why he wanted to hang out there. He's going to church with me because I led him to the Lord. He was my convert. I led him to the Lord. And and he's older than me, and he was a very nice gentleman. Okay. And I mean, he would put a ton of money in the offering plate. Oh, they didn't mind that. Okay. They didn't mind that. But after he put his money in the offering plate and we did the closing remarks and all like that, somebody gonna pull me to the side. Why does he hang around here? Why does he come around here? What does he see in us? I said, I guess he likes black worship music. And he would tell me in the car, when he's driving me home. He likes it. He likes those. He likes that shout music. He likes that gospel type of music. And even to this day, what I mean, when I go hang out with him, it wasn't a joke. He was dead serious. He likes black gospel music. He likes black gospel music. And he loves the way black preachers preach. That was the main thing. He likes, that sanctimonious, emotional way that black folks preach. That. And the Lord, he likes that. That's his thing. You know, that's the thing. Unless you're talking about Jimmy Swagger can talk softly and he still feels the same way. But when it comes to black folks, he don't like that Baptist preaching. He like that Pentecostal, okay, can't nobody stay seated kind of preaching. Okay. Me personally, I'm past all that. You know what I mean? Because a lot of it's more about, and that's the problem. This brings me to my next phase. A lot of that's about us and not about Jesus. A lot of that stuff is about us and not about Jesus because, I felt the Holy Spirit at church camp. That was predominantly white. that was where I really began to feel the Holy Spirit in my life, at church camp, which was predominantly white. Matter of fact, you could call it majority white. Oh, because most of the time I was the only black person there. We're talking about 100 people. What do I make? 101? You know, and people loved me. And why they loved me? Because of my courage. They loved me because they could talk to me. They could ask me, what were my plans for my future and what I wanted to do with my life. And they could ask me, you know, and they knew that they couldn't hate on, my pastor, because my pastor was one of the most popular pastors. I mean, these people didn't get out that much. Okay. His people didn't get out that much. But he was the most popular pastor in Church of God Ministries, okay, around the world. I mean, he went everywhere. Long as he could find the money to do it, he did it. He went everywhere. He preached. He preached to the white people. He preached to the black people. He preached to the Koreans. He preached to, there's places he went to preach. He had to have an interpreter. He went to Africa. He went to the Bahamas. He went, he went on missionary trips. I mean, he wasn't a missionary, but sometimes whenever the missionaries, took over a place, they called him in to preach. They called someone like him in to do revival, you know, in their spot. That's how we claim our territory, revival. So yeah, that's how we claim our territory. That's how the Spirit claims its territory. Whenever you see people put up these big tent revivals and stuff, they're claiming back the territory for Jesus. They're claiming back the territory. That's what that's all about. And for some reason, because it's right out in the middle of the street or in the middle of the parlor or the monument or whatever, people show up. Many, many people show up. They show up way more than going in any church. They just show up. The devil shows up. Okay? That's how we mark our territory. Okay? But yeah, I can never understand um, why we make everything about us. We make music about us. And I'm going to say something real critical here. Like, when I started to get out of the ghetto and go places, me and Keith used to travel together. And he would take me to some places where I had to sit there and listen to country music for God knows how long. And as much as sometimes it gave me a headache, gave him a headache too. I adjusted it to it, and I'm starting. And when I go and I listen, when I go to certain neighborhoods and I see how people live, and I listen to their music, and I see how a typical person driving down the street, and one thing you'll learn about Pennsylvania if you've ever been here and been outside of Pittsburgh is Pennsylvania is a country. Pennsylvania has the less city life more than any other state. I mean, well, maybe. No, I take that back, but it's one of them states. I take that back because even if you go to Ohio, Ohio is a lot more country than it is city. Um, and there's so many places. I've gotten lost in people's crop fields for so much country. Um, in this country, I mean, in the state, it's just country. Just like me and a guy was talking yesterday, and he was saying that, and this is a white guy. He was talking about how, we were talking about how we plan to retire, and he was talking about, well, Pennsylvania. I don't know if I want to retire in Pennsylvania. He hasn't lived in Pennsylvania as long as I have, and he hasn't traveled Pennsylvania as often as I have. So, he was like thinking, well, all the major cities, Philadelphia and Pittsburgh, that's all there is. And yeah, I says, but yeah, there's a lot of beautiful towns that have everything that they need. You don't need to go to Pittsburgh. You don't need to go to Philadelphia. Just like, if you go to Allentown, for example, okay, Allentown's a town it's considered a major city, but it's really a town. Because of its now as far as the borough around, that's all considered Allentown, and that's all considered Lehigh Valley. But if you go to Allentown, not only do you have the country and the city together, which I loved about that place, but you have Philadelphia and in New York right there, an hour, hour to hour and a half away. You got both Philadelphia and New York, so it's a very good place, very beautiful place to live. A very beautiful place if you want to get away from how crazy New York is or how crazy Philadelphia is, and you want to chill in a more quieter place. A lot of people commute between Allentown and New York and Philadelphia. So, I learned that when I went down there. And there's other places. There's Lancaster. I'm not going to spend a lot of time with that. That's for one of my other channels. But what I'm saying is, like me and him were talking, Pennsylvania is just as much country or more country than it is city. And I'm really looking for a city right here in Pennsylvania. I'll do some traveling, but I really want to retire in the state that I was born and raised in. I think that's only fair. But I want to get away from these ghettos. I want to get away from. It's going to be the most ignorant thing I say in this video, but I want to get away to where there's less of my people and more of other races. Less of my people. And I'll tell you why. I don't want you to get offended, but I'll tell you why. Because, again, my people have a habit of making everything about them. You know what I'm saying? I was at work yesterday. You know what I'm saying? They always go out of their way not to fit in. They always go out of, I'm watching these guys, and they're looking for some mischief to get into. And we just had that security officer. You heard the news. Brandon Tatum didn't give exactly what state, what city, but this black man was working as a security guard in, I guess he was in some black community in one of these crazier states. Okay. He got out of his car, black folks standing there. He didn't think that he was, I guess they knew he was a security guard for something, but they just walked up and shot him and then robbed him. Okay. You got everything you need on camera before the cops ever showed up. And I'll never understand for the life of me how you can sit there and point the finger at white people and point the finger at cops when black people kill and steal and pillage and do other things. My people, I should say. I'm sorry, my people. When they kill, steal, and destroy. That's it. Kill, steal, and destroy. When my people kill, steal, and destroy, I don't understand how they blame it on white folks and white cops. I don't get that, because you're killing. There's more deaths done by blacks to blacks than there is white on black, and even black on white. There's more death done black on black. So one of my subscribers, matter of fact, two or three of them, that like keep up with me all the time, and they think they got to keep up with every video I do. This video is for you. Y'all like to say, well, it's just like that within the city. Okay. This dumbest thing, excuse my French, bullshit I ever heard. Excuse me, Christians. But that's the dumbest bullshit I ever heard. Oh, well, it's just like, it's just like any type of crime. Asians kill Asians. Blacks kill blacks. Whites kill whites. Okay. Give me the numbers. Put them on. Put them right on my channel. Put them on my page. I want to see these numbers. I want to see these numbers. That's bullshit. Show me in the news where all these Asians are killing Asians. Okay, Chinese people killing Chinese people and Japanese people killing Japanese people in this country. See, and that's the thing and if there's something that I don't like about white people, and if there's something that I don't like about Democrats, that's the thing right there. Rationalizing crap. Okay? No, let's be honest. Our people kill more people in general, do more death, and do more killing, stealing, and destroying than any other race in America. It's a fact. And when I look at people try to make statistics, okay, you say, oh, well, the crime rate dropped. And so, this brother at work tried to tell me this. The crime rate dropped. Okay. When the percentage of the crime rate dropped, that meant that even if crime drops, my people are still the majority of the crime. It's a fact. Okay, crime dropped. So that means we're down to one white person to get caught last year doing crime in Pittsburgh, that did a murder in Pittsburgh, and all the rest of them were black. That's all. If crime decreases, blacks are still the majority of crime being done. And I know this how, because it takes nothing. Absolutely the most simplest conversation, the most peaceful conversation, okay? You know what I'm saying? For, one of my people, one of our men, to just go beating the crap out of somebody. Especially when you're young. You know what I mean? Especially when you're young. And you know what? I've seen these kids that are like supposed to be going to college and they're doing great in school and all like that. If you're doing great in school, okay, then keep on going. Don't use racism, if you think that's what's happening to you, as an excuse to throw it all away. Don't do that, because that's not true. Sure, you ran into some issues and your white friends decided that they got jealous all of a sudden, and they decided you ain't as best as you think you are. You getting ready to go up there and make a fool out of yourself. Let's say that's how they got you feeling. Okay? Okay, what do you do? What do you do? No, you go up there even more so to make yourself more powerful and give a better presentation to make sure you win. Now you're going to go for the win. And that's the way a lot of black people have survived. But now let me get on the other part of this. I get sick and tired. This is the problem I have with white folks. They keep making props of us. Like, okay, first of all, in the movie industry, you claim we're free and we're diverse and there's no such thing as racism anymore. But when you watch TV, in an average movie, you got black folks, one out of every five, one black guy in a whole movie. The whole cast, one black guy. And depending on, the ratings of the movie, there might be two. Might be husband and wife. It might be two crime lords or something like that. Okay. And then, you go to the Oscars. We just now getting into the Oscars. Okay. It took Will and Pinkett to like, hold up. I didn't know black folks. Wait a minute. Wasn't it Sidney Poitier that was in the Oscars many, many moons ago? Correct me if I'm wrong. But, there are places where whites make it about them and they're comfortable with that. And they don't make it about them. They make it about like, oh, well, they want some things to themselves. They like some things to be segregated for apparently no reason. Like if you are in the movie industry or in the music industry, okay, and your studio's way across town and your studio's way across town and y'all don't connect like that when it comes to writing your tracks, then why do you need to prop us? Why do you need to segregate? You know what I'm saying? There's no reason to segregate in a situation like movies and music. There's no reason to segregate. If you know what I'm saying, and then they say stuff like, "Well, they're beating us at football." No, I gotta admit, affirmative action for white people. I gotta admit, okay. I might have to do a part two of this video. If black folks are not I'm sorry, if white folks aren't able to play football as good as black folks, but they can play good football, how are you ever supposed to put uh, white folks on football teams? You know what I'm saying? If you got the numbers way up here, it'd have to be reached. You know what I'm saying? And that's where I agree with a little bit of affirmation to make sure everybody gets what they want because my. Mm-mm. It's not fair that, what I'm saying, any particular race should come in and take over football or take over basketball or any sport. Okay. And I know in hockey, they still somewhat segregate. And I hope like hockey fans, like I hear black people talk about hockey all the time. And there's a lot of black people that love the Penguins. They love to watch hockey. But, I've heard people talk about, black people that have come and gone in the Penguins and they was in and they was out like that. I see it. Like they didn't meet up. Okay. And I know the way some black folks love hockey, they can play some darn good hockey. I didn't see them play, but I know they can play. I don't know who's on the side of the Penguins, Pittsburgh Penguins right now. I don't know who's doing that. I don't really keep up, but I do know that hockey is one of those places where that's very segregated. And I'm hoping and praying that they're not trying to protect hockey from black people. Since they feel that blacks have, you know, basketball and football. And that brings me to a closing right here for this video. Look. So now they went from propping us to propping other people because they probably don't need that many white people to play basketball. They probably don't need very many white people at all to play football. If they wanted to, they could make football and basketball a black sport because black people are really, really, really. I mean, what do black people do on their spare time on the street, even in the ghettos? Basketball and football. Okay, you can go. You can go down to the courts in the ghetto and turn that into guns. Okay, you go down there and you score too many points, somebody knock you on your head. Next thing you know, there's a drive-by. Somebody dialed a number on their phone. So I am D. Cruz. I am the Life Applications Officer. I have to do another part. I have to do a part 2 of this video, but here's the solution, and I'll mention it again in the next video. Here's the solution that you need to do. You need to quit letting them prop us. We're not props. We're people. Okay? And you need to evolve. Just like everybody else. Other races don't come over here worrying about majority white, majority this, majority that. They worry about getting food and money and shelter and, education and jobs for their family, for their kids coming up. They build a future for themselves. And you know what? They're doing pretty good. I mean, I drive through the neighborhood. I can't believe that house belongs to an Asian chick that just moved in here last year. I can't believe you got 20 Indian people living together in that stretch of land right there. And they're very wealthy. I can't believe that Indian people have so much real estate here in the U.S. and Asia. What we got? Is that the white man's fault that we don't have it? Here we go again. You're going to try to act like it's about us and the white man. No, it's not. Not about us and the white man. It's about us not wanting to evolve. It's about us because we don't want to evolve. We're being used as props for everything. Oh, well, we'll act like there was, one black guy in the movie about the massacres, or we'll act like there was one black guy, that, came to investigate a crime, or, 2 out of 200. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. Come on. You know what I'm saying? I know what you're doing. But that doesn't make what we do right. Okay? God bless you. I am D. Cruz, your Life Applications Officer. More to come.